Hey y'all, it is your favorite nerdy girl here, Nerdy Girl Reviews. We are back with another recap for Hulu's Love Story, the John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette Kennedy love story, currently streaming on Hulu. Um, this is the last episode for this limited series, and it is titled, I think, Search Party? Search and Recovery. So, what can be said, y'all? I don't know what I can say that I haven't already stressed in my previous recaps, but again, this is a very idealized, romanticized version of what we think, what we hoped that these two may have been, or at least that's this objective perspective that we have as outsiders, as spectators, on two people that loved each other madly, perhaps, and were volatile and dealt with their baggage, their family history that they dragged into their relationships. Um, it loved each other passionately, probably fought just as bad. The one thing that I will say is that the timing of it perhaps is maybe off. I just feel like we're going into the same um, mindset that we had with And Just Like That. I think currently we're just not in a headspace for that, even if we do want entertainment. I can't relate. It doesn't resonate just because it just feels like privileged, rich people problems. And we're even stressing the fact that it's the 1990s. The highlight of watching all 9 episodes was a feeling of what New York was, and it definitely reopened, I'm sure, everybody's time capsule in their head of the soundtrack that was playing in our lives at that given moment. The Cranberries, the Goo Goo Dolls, Jeff Buckley. I mean, that in itself is a treasure and a gem. But as far as it concerns the couple, it just felt too wooden, too unrelatable. And it has nothing to do with the actors. I think the actors did a great job. That's just the material that was given to them. I don't know who gave those particular cues for Carolyn Bessette's character, or the actress playing Carolyn Bessette, to be biting her lip all the time and walking in a sexy strut everywhere. We come back in this episode, she's there, I guess they're in their the phase where they decided to go to couples therapy, and I guess they're just not being there's no compromise between either of them, so it's like a push and pull. And like I think the therapist coined it best when she mentioned, you are white knuckling this relationship to the point of it implosion, basically. Pun intended, I guess. But I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just saying that, again, I don't necessarily I think they did. I think it is documented that they went to therapy, but I think their relationship was really done. I think she just, she got what she wished for. She wasn't content with what was happening. Plus, he's a cheat. The things that I've heard and read, and again, no shade to the Kennedys, it's just, it was known, it was documented that because of him being so known and so handsome, he had access to a lot. And that also included infidelities. And she had her own. By the way, I will say that I've been keeping up with the author of Ask Not, I think Maureen Callahan. She just announced on her YouTube channel that hold on a second, that the book, the tell-all book by Michael Bergen, the Calvin Klein model that was dating Caroline Bessette before and after her marriage, his tell-all book titled The Other Man is coming back. it's going to be reissued. It hasn't been reissued in a minute, and they're set to release that copy. I believe she said late June 23rd. Don't quote me, but yeah. If I'm telling you I already bought this tell-all from Miss Callahan, I think most likely I might follow up with with that book. Because again, like, what was the purpose to this? We're already in a situation where we find ourselves in the constant nightmare that we are living in terms of administration, and then let's add more salt to the wound by talking about people who are well-to-do. To be perfectly honest, I just don't think that they would have lasted all that long. I think they would have divorced. You know, she would have found somebody probably richer than him. He would have found some model and actress that he would have been with for X amount of years. We're idealizing people and putting them on some kind of pedestal. I'm not saying that they don't deserve, but I don't think anybody. I mean, that's just a personal opinion on my end, that I think we're human. We all make mistakes, and I don't think anybody should be idolized. I think there's a mistake in doing that. Not to mention that I believe what a lot of people mentioned that did happen to John F. Kennedy Jr. when they took off in that little teeny private jet. Because I again, don't quote me. I'm going based on a lot of things that I've heard online. He didn't necessarily clear with Air Force control of where he was going in terms of his coordinates. He had a broken foot. He had just gotten his cast off. It was not recommended for him to fly. There are accounts of friends of telling him that it's best for him to fly with an instructor until he has more experience. He didn't pay attention to those particular details. He was kind of the fly by the seat of your pants kind of person, no pun intended. And then he experienced, because that particular night in July, unfortunate night in July, there was a lot of fog that would cause anybody, I don't know if somebody who's as inexperienced as him, spatial disorientation. And that contributed to their accident and plane crashing. The one thing I will say, I know that they had to kind of relate to what exactly happened in the plane, but nobody has a true account of that. And again, this like, will they, won't they get along? Are they going to be able to surpass this rough patch? She's now sitting next to him. I don't know if it was documented that necessarily that when the plane took off, she was sitting behind with her sister, and then she decided to sit in front with him. What we do know, and this has been documented, the deep divers that did find their bodies, that she was sitting next to him. But who is to say that they were mending their relationship? I think ideally we would want to think that that's what was happening, but did that necessarily happen is what I'm saying. Like, they were a very volatile couple. I think I mentioned in my last review that he had been seen and photographed with an ex, and I'm not saying that that led to anything, but he was known to be a Lothario. She also was going through her own thing, and she wasn't also this little wallflower that they want to paint in this show. There are documents where she lost her temper. There's a well-documented moment where she felt harassed by the paparazzi. She lost it, and she actually spat in a photographer's eye. I don't know if she got sued or the photographer was thinking of doing that. There are accounts where even... Again, I'm not saying I know this is all alleged, but when she was getting her nails done before this flight, that she had lost her temper, and she was frustrated with the nail tech because she wasn't getting the right color coat on her nails. And we're putting them here like, oh, baby, breathe, just breathe, when he kind of starts losing it on the plane. Again, what are we doing? Like, why is this being so romanticized? Like, it was a very kumbaya situation. Maybe, again, we would like to believe that that's what happened. But is that what really